Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lu, I'm a visual artist and art educator, and it is a joy to have you here in my studio. Today is a very special day because I want to invite you into a deep transition in my artistic life. I want to share a recent body of work that has completely redefined how I see my own creativity and my purpose as an artist. But before I show you the pieces, I want to ask you a question that haunted me for a long time. What is left of us when the human figure disappears? What remains of a person when you strip away the face, the clothes, the gadgets, and even the physical body itself? This investigation, this search for what is invisible but essential, led me to my current series, Vestiges of a Soul. But to understand where I am now, we have to look back at where I spent the last 25 years of my life. For more than 2 decades, my focus was a figurative series called Urban Being. In those paintings, I was obsessed with the contemporary human condition. I represented people surrounded and quite literally absorbed by their gadgets, especially the cell phones. I wanted to portray that strange modern contradiction we all live. We are more connected than ever through technology, yet there is a deep internal solitude that follows us. I was searching for identity, for presence, and for the emotional weight that only the human form seemed to carry. It was a very intense investigation, and for a long time it felt complete. But after 25 years, I felt that I had said everything I could through that literal figure. The air in that creative room started to, to feel thin, and I knew I needed to open a window. Moving away from a style you've known for decades is not easy. It's not like flipping a light switch. This transition was gradual, uncomfortable, and it often showed up as creative blocks. For a while, I felt lost. I felt like I was losing my visual language, the best way I knew how to communicate with the world. I will tell you more about those blocks in another video. In fact, because I know how challenging these moments are, I currently I'm currently finalizing an ebook about overcoming creative blocks and another about creative activation to help other artists and creators navigate these transitions with more lightness. They are almost ready, and soon I will leave the link for them in the pinned comment below. Anyway, it was in the silence of the studio, between one brush stroke and another that no longer fulfilled me, that my hands began to ask for something else. I was no longer looking for the external image of a person, but for the weave of which we are made. And curiously, the answer didn't come from a contemporary art theory, but from my deepest memories. Something I already knew, but that had been dormant. Something ancestral that connected me to the women of my lineage. I looked at my history And finally, I understood what I was searching for was knitting. The core of this work lies in the dialogue between the rigid structure of the canvas and the organic vulnerability of hand knitted textiles. Knitting has always been part of my family history. My grandmother was an incredible artisan. I can still close my eyes and see the movement of her hands. My mother and my aunt were the ones who taught me stitch by stitch when I was just a child. And now, at this stage of my life, all those memories have turned, but in a completely different context. In Vestiges of a Soul, knitting is no longer just a craft or a hobby. It has become my primary language. It is a way of building surfaces slowly, of literally accumulating time. Each stitch represents a second, each row represents an hour of reflection. Painting is still present, but it has stepped back. It is now a complement, a layer that adds depth. Instead of representing the human figure, I am now asking, what is the inner structure of a human presence? The human figure here is no longer depicted, but evoked through the physical presence of texture. These new pieces are not trying to describe a feeling, they are trying to hold it. They are about repetition, material, and above all, imperfection. I know that moving from beautifully familiar figurative work to something abstract can be a shock for some. But this is the natural path of an artist. You explore a subject deeply until you reach its essence. And that essence is what we call abstraction. It is the most concentrated form of it, actually. In these works, the imperfections are intentional, the small disruptions in the pattern, featuring raw edges, loose threads, flaws, and distortions. These imperfections serve as metaphors for the scars, gaps, and complexities of the human soul. They are not mistakes, they are essential. They bring the work closer to the human spirit, which cannot be fully controlled or perfected. It is an invitation to look closely at the tactile whispers of our own existence, finding beauty in the frayed, the unfinished, and the profoundly human. I have produced about 14 pieces so far, and they are not all ready. It is just the beginning of a process that is still unfolding. I am still learning, still discovering what these textures have to tell me, and exploring this new path has been one of the best moments of my life as an artist. And I feel it truly represents who I am today. Now, if you want to follow this journey and learn more about the messy, chaotic, and beautifully artistic process, subscribe to the channel, and if you can give this video a like, it helps me a lot. Also, I'd love to hear from you. How does this shift feel to you? Does the idea of distilling your own life resonate with your experience? Please let me know in the comments. I read and answer them all. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey, even as I learn to navigate these new technologies and share my work here on YouTube. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.